I won't tell you the name of the bridge. It's too late to prevent many things, but I can prevent people from being drawn to it any more than they already are. My fiancé and I were walking along the bridge one evening. Historic structure, paved but too narrow for cars. It was just foggy enough to hide the ravine the bridge straddled, like we were walking over a river of clouds. We did normally sappy couple things. I whined at the cold, so Michael gave me his scarf. We held hands and kissed every few steps. Now that he's gone, I find myself looking over these moments for any significance. Would we have spent the rest of our lives together if the rest of that night gone differently? Were we really in love, or still just in our honeymoon period? Whatever our potential future, it changed the second Michael said, "Let's take a selfie." I protested. My hair, my face, the lighting. Michael persuaded me. It's what he was best at. We wound his scarf around both our necks and smiled. After the first snap, I jokingly pulled away, leaving the scarf loosely looped around just his neck. He laughed and grabbed after me, pulling up the photo to see if we needed another take. He was a perfectionist. My Michael. And if there was only a little blurring, he would want to do it again. I almost expected it when his face fell, thinking I had blinked and messed it up. His voice, urgent and low, summoned me back to his side. There's someone jumping off the bridge behind us. I crowded in to look at the phone. Yes, behind us was the silhouette of a figure in mid-fall, clothes blowing back with their descent. We hadn't heard anything. There would have been a sound, wouldn't there? The land below the bridge was dry, nothing to cushion the fall of a suicidal plummet. Michael decided to search below the bridge. I pled with him not to. Now I wonder if I could have stopped him, if it would have affected things at all. Was it all destined to end the second we took that photo? We reached the end of the bridge, and the traffic barrier that prevented cars from entering and overloading the bridge's slim structure. Michael climbed over the no trespassing sign and disappeared into the swirling fog. I waited. When his scream came, it was confusing. It sounded like it was coming from all directions at once. I couldn't tell where he was. I shouted his name, clinging to the fence. I didn't dare to try and climb over. His scream stopped abruptly. There was no thump. Please understand. No crunch, no sound of impact. Just that sudden, terrible scream that was the last thing I heard my fiancé utter. The police found him on the rocks. From the impact site, they said it was clear he had jumped, approximately from the place we'd taken the picture. I just kept shaking my head and saying, I don't understand. I don't understand. When they asked if he'd been depressed lately, Michael hadn't jumped. He'd been looking for the jumper. I wanted to show them the picture we had taken, but Michael had been using his phone's flashlight, and so it smashed on the rocks with him. The fog lifted from our town the next few days, but not my head. I was like a ghost in the apartment we had shared together, just drifting along, not affecting anything. By the time it occurred to me to check Michael's iCloud account for the photo, the police had dubbed his death an accident. I opened our last photo together on his laptop, studying every pixel of the frame. There, just beside our shoulders, was the tumbling shadow of a person not long for this world. I zoomed in. Due to the tilt of the head, I could not make out any distinguishing facial features, but I recognized the clothing. Orange, full-length jacket, tan corduroy pants, a red scarf trailing behind like a comet tail. The exact outfit Michael wore in the foreground. The exact outfit he'd been wearing when he died. This discovery made my grief worse. I couldn't get anyone to take the photo seriously. The police recommended a counselor. My friends gave me concerned looks. I started taking long walks along the bridge around twilight, trying to puzzle out what it all meant. Was what I saw in that photo an echo? A bad omen? Or simply a trap? Did he die because he went to investigate? Or was he doomed the second he took the picture? I was taking one of these walks on a day not unlike the one when Michael died. Fog hid the bottom of the bridge. I wasn't looking at anything in particular, just staring off into space when the light hit my eyes. A photo flash. I ran forward, not even sure of what I wanted to do. The fog opened ahead of me and zippered back up behind me, as if it held a spotlight on my path. A young couple had stopped by one of the pillars. The man held a selfie stick, which he'd been using to take a picture of his wife and baby in a stroller. "Delete that picture," I said. "Delete it and leave. Get away from this bridge. You've put your family in danger." They didn't say anything, just shuffled away while shooting me disturbed looks. I know how crazy I sounded. I don't blame them. I stood on that bridge and looked over the rail at the swirling mist, wondering if I was really going crazy. I was walking back to my car when I saw the man again. Distraught, he sat by the open door of his car with his phone to his ear. His infant was unbuckled but hadn't moved from the stroller. His wife was nowhere in sight. He was dialing again and again, whispering urgently, "Pick up. Come on. Pick up." I froze, not knowing what else to do. He saw me. He stood up and shouted at me. "It's you! What happened to my wife? What's going on here?" I could only point back to the bridge. Her name, I found out as the investigation went on, was Marie. She'd been 27, and the baby was her first successful child after 2 miscarriages. Mark, her husband, kept blubbering that he didn't understand. She was happy. She loved living. He had only turned around to unlock the car, and suddenly, she'd gone, behind the happy family in the photo that now serves as the last living evidence of Marie. There falls a woman with the same brown hair, same floral pattern coat. It wasn't an accident or a one-off thing. I knew that now. I made it my duty to patrol the bridge. I wasn't alone after a while. Mark had surrendered his baby to his in-laws and sat vigil with me. There were others. More and more as time went on. People were too late to save from grief. People who had lost someone to the bridge. I developed a deathly fear of being photographed. Could barely stand to see my own face in the mirror. I looked up every bit of information about that bridge. Couldn't find a single thing to hint why it was happening. No mysterious suicides in the builder's family. No high accident rate in the workers. Not long now. I'll go as far as I can and hope I reach the end in time. It took months of pushing, but we finally got outside attention. A local paper who looked at us like a quirky local bunch, like Bigfoot hunters. We tolerated the condescension because a speaking platform was more important. It meant maybe we could finally save people from the bridge. They had us gather on the bridge, everyone who had lost someone. The reporter, a guy they usually sent out to festivals and tourist traps, called us a support group and gave an inaccurate history of how we came together. I was waiting for my turn to speak on camera when I overheard someone telling us to gather in. I looked over just in time to see the flash of a camera. I looked at the picture on the camera's digital review screen. There, on the bridge, is our group, looking at the camera like a flock of unhappy sheep. And in the sky above us are thousands of plummeting figures, a rain of bodies falling to the ground. The one closest to the foreground has on a tan overcoat, blue jeans, and a red scarf trailing out like a comet tail. That's the outfit I have on right now.